Hello, good evening, my name is Morganon, and I bid you all welcome back to, shockingly, a third video in 1 month. Can you believe it? I'm really trying to pick up the pace with these uploads. I know last year was not very good, and we obviously had a very large gap towards the end, but honestly, I'm feeling more motivated than I was around that period, so let's hope we can keep up that energy. Anyway, there are some things that we can have at while we're still in town before we move on to the monastery. A bunch of things I kind of want to go over before I forget about them.
Found lodgings for Martha, the farmer's wife.
You are a good man. If only all the people in this town were as considerate. Here, I have something for you. May the holy flame light your way.
Very nice. A little something extra for our selflessness. We can also help ourselves to stuff in Patty's bar because she's not around to really protect it anymore, which does kind of raise the question of who's running it, because people are still whining and dining there, but they don't seem to. I don't know. I guess it's on the honor system. Anyway, we can still get a map from Nelson. By still, I mean we can finally get it now that we're able to leave town.
Is the map done? I've come for the map.
And I've finished it. If you want it, pay me and it's yours.
Now, you don't have to take it. That's quite a lot of money. I mentioned it in a caption in the last video because I tested it after recording. But it turns out that you can get a free map from Fincher even if you are not working for them. Like even with this save file where we're moving on with the moving on to the monastery, you can still get it from him with a weird broken dialogue, which I'll show here.
Have you got a decent map of the island?
Make sure you get those seekers to the temple. The map should have everything you need on it.
Thanks.
But I don't want to leave Nelson in the lurch, and frankly, we've got money to spare, so...
Yes, I'll take it.
Take good care of it. Maps are works of art.
And that's that. One thing I definitely want to make sure we grab here is right behind Patty, there's this chest, and nobody seems to mind you helping yourself. And
you even think about taking something from me and I'll cut your dick off.
I beg your pardon. It wasn't yours. Vasily. Interesting. I didn't think anyone cared, but I guess it's just because they're not looking this way and I'm not in, like, a zone where I'm not supposed to be. Does appear to be some gold under there, but I guess that's static. The interesting thing in here is a recipe for a fried meal, which permanently increases dexterity when eaten. I'll be honest, I completely forgot that item existed. But that is a means of free dexterity. There are a couple other recipes like that, but I think that's the only place you can acquire that one. It does require things that you're not likely to get on your own. Potatoes and bags of spices specifically only seem to be sold by vendors. So that's a bit lame. Anyway, we're pretty much done here in Harbor Town, at least for the time being. So we are ready to move on. Now there is one thing that I had found, and I may have even done it before, but I had mentioned that there's really no way to get into town unconventionally, not without going through the guys on the eastern gate and bribing your way in. But it turns out that that's actually not true. I feel like I tested this and actually maybe made it work at one point during like the old live streams, but it was just idly scrolling through the Steam page that I noticed somebody had actually posted a video of doing the same thing, where you can actually
I think you should have put up more of a fight.
just deftly hop up the walls here. You have to get rid of a few critters first, though. Now we are at the point where I could start spending learning points, but I actually won't, because we're basically going to get through the whole monastery bit, and then I'm going to make another... I'm going to split 2 save files again to have an Inquisition file and a Mage file. So unfortunately, I still really can't afford to use any learning points. Because on the Mage, I'm probably not really going to invest in melee combat at all. But anyway, the trick is to basically find the furthest corner of this little ledge here and hop right on over to this rock. Hop on over to this rock. Hop slightly up. There should be a point where he just, yep, takes a big leap there. And as long as you don't screw it up too much, you can hop right on the wall. And that's how it's did. Good thing that awning was there, because I overshot that jump.
I have permission. All right.
He lets us right out again. Doesn't ask how we got back in. Now, if you feel like it, there's some stuff to loot around the beach. It's not really a whole lot of much interest. So we might just move on up the road a bit. Now there is one thing you're gonna find on your way out of here. I think I'm gonna do this looting and killing off screen. Just because there's really not much to be seen. But over here is something that'll probably have a few new players scratching their heads. I might as well just discuss it. Bro, how are you not dead? I haven't landed a single strong attack. It took like 10 times as many hits. But right here, there's very clearly something to be dug.
A little more for me.
Gotta love that lengthy animation every time.
Or find the key. I'll have to pick this. Or find the key.
Now, even though he says you'll have to pick it or find the key, you actually cannot pick it. You must only find the key. And as far as where you can find that key, that's actually relevant to a quest we're not going to be getting for a little while. I'm only bringing that up because on your way out of here, you'll probably come across that. If you're a new player, just exploring and looting as you make your way to wherever you're going next. Interestingly, this bird was busy having a snack on that corpse over there. So, didn't want to get involved in this fight until we killed the other one. I always find the corpses that you find out in the wild really strange, because they're just random NPCs who are always laying face down in this weird, what almost seems like a tilted T-pose. Every single corpse you find is in that pose. I'm just gonna bypass the enemies for now. Like I said, I'll do the XP farming and herb looting in my own time. I don't feel like taking time on the recording to do that, so we'll see you up the road, where we'll be continuing today. Alright, so this is our road to the monastery here, or Volcano Keep as the sign insists on calling it. That's the way we went with the novice way back in the day. To get into the other end of the city, but we can chat with this feller.
Hey, this area hasn't been secured yet. Be careful.
Thanks. I'll keep my eyes open.
Can't look after yourself, eh? I don't care what you're doing here or where you're from. I only care about security. Unauthorized people will be considered a looter. If I tell Severin at the farm, or if he sees you, you'll be arrested instantly. This area's off limits.
What do you know about this area?
This camp's run by the Order for the Inquisition.
What's the camp for?
All the troops out here use it. They bring artifacts here, and guard these 2 ruins. One here below the farm, and another further up.
Are the ruins dangerous?
We've got creatures piling out of the ruins and spreading out everywhere.
Can you tell me more about the ruins here?
I can't really. I just stand guard here. If you want to know more, talk to Severin.
Did you see the ruins come out of the ground?
I haven't seen it myself, but I've heard a lot about it. It started with an earthquake, and the ruins came shooting out of the ground all over the island.
Wild times. It is funny that he recommends you go talk to Severin after telling you that Severin will arrest you on sight, but... a little bit of continuity error there. Here we have another fresh ruin to take a look at. I want to make a correction. I think last time I referred to the farm that the novices work as Tilda's farm. This is actually Tilda's farm. I don't think that farm where we started back in the day has a name. But down here, we get a glimpse at a couple other things we'll find more often in dungeons. First of all, an enemy, the likes of which we have not seen so far. And second of all, some mighty deadly traps. Just keep your eyes out for classic Gothic 1 and 2 perforated floors. An indicator of deadly traps. Now in there is an enemy that is actually quite tough for this point in the game. There are a couple ways we can handle it. One is a direct fight, in which case you'll probably get your ass kicked. Second is to cheese it with arrows through the grate, because believe it or not, they actually have pretty accurate collision on the grate. Now, the issue I found is that standing here and shooting arrows at it tends to push this cricket way back against the wall, where it often clips out of bounds and disappears. So there is a third option. We lose out on a bit of XP, but it's quite easy to pull off. No big deal. Now, this is one of those cases where they are pulling a sort of hidden object trick on you. You can pull out the old telekinesis spell that we actually don't have, so I guess I can't pull it out. I forgot we got it in the other dungeon. But this is a case where, a bit like we saw in the early Gothic games, there are interactable objects that don't get highlighted with text. Like, you know, more obvious ones. So you simply have to keep your eyes peeled and look for anything that seems a bit out of sorts. Such as these rings here in the wall. Typically they'll have a torch in them, but a lot of them do not. Not all of them mean anything. Once in a while, they do. Now, once you've interacted with it, it does stay highlighted. So, that's often one to disable a trap or open a hidden door. So a lot of these little micro dungeons start to teach you the things you're gonna have to look out for in the bigger dungeons later. But that's it. I think we lose like 120 XP for that cricket, which isn't enough for me to really care. I'm sure a lot of min-maxers are chomping at the bit right now. Anyway, why don't you keep warm there, buddy? I will snatch that. We'll head this way. One thing I do like is how well they've represented these ruins literally protruding from the ground. Because it's just Like, the way the landscape has busted up around it, you see the roots of... Well, honestly, there's a lot of roots for trees that don't seem to be seen. But it literally looks like this ruin burst from the ground and shoved everything out of its way as it rose. Another thing I don't think I've addressed is the 2 statue legs up there. They're hard to see from anywhere inside the city, but it seemed like there was a colossus of sorts that was overlooking the city at one point, and is completely dilapidated. But on the beach where we started, there was a big, like stone wall that definitely did not look natural, and actually visibly represents a shield we find later in the game. And it's suggested that it might be the shield of whatever Colossus once stood over the city. I can't remember if we find any other parts of it. I think we might find the head somewhere? I don't know why I'm struggling to remember. There's also a touch that you only see from certain angles, which is all these birds inexplicably flying out of that mountain there. It's a bit of a looping animation, but I don't think it was until the live streams that I ever even noticed it. I think it was up at the monastery looking down, because the monastery's got the same thing going on. And I happened to notice them, but pretty cool. Yeah, let's go up and at them. And we see quite the operation here that the novices are cooking up.
Hey, come out to see the pigs.
Not really.
Anything much happening out here?
We've got grave moths buzzing around everywhere. I can't let the pigs out of my sight.
Grave moths eat pigs.
If they're hungry enough, they'll eat anything. And pigs aren't known for being able to defend themselves.
I'll deal with the grave moths.
Thanks. I know they're dirty, but you know, these pigs have got a personality. Don't want to lose any more of them.
Well, don't get too attached to them. I have a feeling you're going to be eating them at some point. We're not going to do the grave moths right now. We can save that for later. Basically, any of the side quests you get in this farm can be saved for later. That's what I'm going to do, just because our target is the monastery today. We got some fellers here.
Greetings.
Hey, you're a novice, right?
For the time being, yes.
And that's about to change.
Soon, soon. I'm on my last test. Once I have the plants for Master Abrax, I'll be a mage.
Who is Master Abrax?
A master up at the monastery. Very clever. His test is the last one I have to pass. Mind you, at least you always know where to find him.
Where?
In his laboratory. He hardly ever leaves it. To be honest, I think he's a little strange in the head.
What sort of test are you doing?
I'm supposed to get him some plants. Here, from the forest.
Need any help?
No, I need to do this by myself. Thanks for the offer, though.
Oh, what a studious fellow.
Hello there. Are you on your way to the monastery?
Maybe. What are you doing here?
Collecting plants. But I need some help. Something's gone wrong.
You need a hand collecting those plants.
Well, I'm not really meant to get help. It's Master Abrax's test, and he really wouldn't approve. But it's not the plants I need help with. Kraban was helping me, although don't let on I told you. And now Kraban's disappeared.
What? Well, he's right there. You're about to talk with him.
There's nobody left there. Don't you have something to do?
So what's going on here is probably a broken dialogue flag. I don't know if Sirius has other lines, like, in code that just aren't getting flagged properly, but this conversation isn't supposed to happen now. Because Kraban, well, it's a bit of a unintended foreshadowing. Kraban's going to disappear later once we're actually doing some of the monastery quests ourselves. But until then, he's here on the farm. So it's a bit strange. I think Sirius is pulling from dialogues that he's not supposed to pull up until later, until the events that vanish Kraban have occurred. But I don't know the ins and outs of what the problem is here. Maybe it's just an oversight in the actual scripting and dialogue. That he doesn't actually have other lines for when Crayban is present. Who knows? Somebody knows. But not I. Let's just help ourselves with some tasty herring. Alas, not the hasty sort.
You there. You better not be a looter or a vagrant.
I'm not. I have a letter of recommendation from Commandant Carlos.
Sure you do. Sure you do. Oh, you do. Well, sorry, can't be too careful. We've had all types trying to get in here. I'm Severin. This farm is under my command. Stay away from the buildings and don't question my people. Remember that, and we'll get along just fine.
Good to know. Are there many ruins round here?
2 of them have risen here. Both have
I said the name.
by my men, and we took what we could out of them. A good man perished, though, in the upper ruins. Lethal place. Don't go near it.
Did you manage to get any artifacts from the ruins?
We're going to send the crates up to the monastery. We're finished with the ruins here. I'm not risking any more men for a couple of goblets. Besides, I need men here to guard what we found, as long as those thieving gnomes are wandering around. But if you want to take a look at the ruins, on your head be it.
What problems are the gnomes causing you?
Those little runts would take the armor off your back while you slept. Have you ever seen how they dress? Pockets all over their coats, stuffed full with anything of value. They live to loot. This farm serves as an intermediate camp where we collect everything we've turned up in excavations and in searching the ruins. The Inquisitor would have my hide if I let the gnomes steal what we have gathered here.
Can I help you with these gnomes?
I'm willing to take any help I can get. There's a group of them camped to the north. If you get rid of them, that would be a great help.
What do you know about the other ruins on this island?
They're sprouting up like weeds. I had orders to send another group west to recover the artifacts from the ruins up there. Rudolph and his men. I haven't heard from them for quite a while, though. The way things are, I don't even know if they're still alive.
Well, in an alternate universe, they are not.
I could find out how Rudolph's group are doing.
Any news would be welcome, but watch yourself. It's dangerous to the west. Wish I could spare you some men, but we're stretched too thin as it is.
I'll be fine.
I respect your confidence.
Any idea where Rudolph and his men might be?
There is a small ruin in the west, just outside that bandit-infested swamp. Could be that Rudolph and his men were digging for artifacts there.
I'll check it out.
Can't be any more specific. It could be anywhere to the west.
All right. I'll deal with the gnomes for you.
That's what I like to hear. A man of action. But keep an eye on your pockets or they'll be in and out before you know it.
We will take care of the gnomes another time. But while we're here on the farm, there are things what we can take a look at. I'm just gonna wait for this fella to make his way out of there. Severin's conveniently looking the other way. Aha, idiots.
It worked.
Here we have something quite nice. Something that will be quite nice for this particular playthrough. You sorry fool. Might as well snatch this one while he's facing the other way now. And what we have found, this weird little, like, I don't know, canine tooth looking thing, is a magical strength amulet for bonus mana. As a mage, I think that'll come in handy. The last named fellow with dialogue is right here. Reuben.
Hey, you supposed to be here. Gotta watch yourself around here if you're not authorized.
You guarding this place?
The buildings, yeah. We keep supplies here and a lot of stuff from the ruins. I also do a little, you know, trading. I'll get you anything you need for a little gold. It's a win-win situation. I'm sure we can help each other out. I mean, we're friends now, aren't we?
Let's trade.
I suppose we can be friends. Enjoy a goblet. I like how we can accuse people of having unreasonably high prices in spite of the fact that everyone literally has the same prices, because there is no haggling system in this game. Or character disposition or anything. Anyway, it suddenly occurs to me that we could probably have done both getting the report from Rudolph and taking over the artifact camp with Fincher. Although, maybe those guys over there... Beg your pardon. Maybe those guys over there at the West artifact camp are still hostile. If you have taken over the town for the Don. I don't know. I'll have to try and test it another time. Why don't we just make our way up to the monastery? All the quests that we picked up here are still available in Chapter 2, so there's no... Oh god. Oh god. There are wolves from behind. There's no concern with losing them once we do the monastery. Besides, we'll have the chance to leave the monastery before Chapter 2 anyway. Woof woof. You cheating bitch. Oh my god, you slippery. Why do you suck so much? Dude. Why? Bruh. Holy shit. I hate you so much. Well then, that's done. Now this is one of those fantasy tropes that I feel like I've been seeing more and more lately, but it's always been kind of ridiculous. The way they have these massive like castles and cathedrals and all sorts of stuff built right onto the spires of an incredibly steep mountain. And From Software games in particular are just really over the top with that. But you see it all the damn time. That kind of architecture is impossible on landscape like that. Well, it's a way to make it super imposing and seem ridiculously well defended. Burge. How you like that? Wombo to death. Alright, well, we've been here before. Notice this particular crystal.
Wait.
Oh, hello.
You came up the mountain, right?
So?
What business do you have out here? I don't recognize you.
What's my business to you?
Oh, nothing. Nothing. But if Santiago spots you, you'll be in trouble.
Who's Santiago?
He's with the Inquisition. You don't want to mess with them. He'd have you recruited to the monastery quick as look at you.
What happens in the monastery?
First, they shove a big stick in your hand. Then, they make you sweep the courtyards or stand guard like me. Not even a beer to keep you going. I'd do anything for a beer. Anything remotely fun is kept in a wine cellar. And that's always locked.
It doesn't sound that bad.
Well, if you like the sound of it, go and see Santiago and join up.
Here, have a swig of this.
Beer? You've got beer? Man alive, that's good stuff. That's like water to a dying man, that is.
What are you doing out here?
watching the road for creatures, and probably providing a free meal for any hungry beasties that come wandering by.
Why don't you just run for it?
Once you've listened to those noises in the shadows, you'll be glad of a secure place to sleep. It's no fun in there, but it's no fun out here either. Even if I did make it back to Harbour Town, the Inquisition would just bring me right back here again. Not many places to hide on an island. I don't really have a lot of options.
What creatures?
Well, all manner of things came out of the ground with those ruins. Think of your worst nightmare, then double it. That's them.
I don't see any creatures.
Oh, they're smart. Smart and vicious. I hear them shuffling around in the shadows, waiting.
Too risky.
Oh, dang. Anyway, what I was going to say before you interrupted me is you'll notice this particular crystal here.
This crystal is radiating some sort of a strange force.
It is radiating a sort of strange force. Now, if we had a levitation spell, this would actually disrupt it. But
magic doesn't work here.
If you try and use any spell, this crystal disables it. And what this is here to do is make sure that you can't try and bypass the walls here. Because using a levitation spell, you could probably quite easily get around there. But we don't have a levitation spell on hand at the moment. That does mean if you were to try and fly near it, it would disable it and make you drop to the ground immediately, so bear that in mind before you take an unfortunate tumble to your demise.
Well, who do we have here? I don't recognize you. Looks to me like you're a vagrant. And vagrancy, that's illegal. If you can't give me a good reason why you're here, you will be recruited.
I volunteered. I'm already enrolled at the monastery.
Is that so? Well, we'll ask Master Palace about that. I'll take you straight to him.
You do that, you son of a bitch. Alright, well this looks familiar.
Another recruit. The guards brought you here because you transgressed the law. Am I correct?
Now, very important. If you have volunteered and you want to become a mage, you must choose this option. If you choose any of these, you get a second chance to explain yourself, depending on which one you pick. But not telling him now that you have a letter of recommendation from Commandant Carlos locks you into being a warrior of the Order. You will never get a chance to switch to being a mage, as far as I could tell. So make sure you pick this. You get a choice either way, but if you don't give him the letter, your only choice is warrior of the Order.
Nope. I volunteered.
I see. Then you must have something to show me.
I have a letter from Commandant Carlos.
Let me see. Belshaw. I see. You rendered services in Harbour Town. Interesting. This changes things. We can make use of people like you.
For what?
That is your decision. The training we offer here would start you as a recruit, setting you on the path of a warrior.
Or,
if your spiritual side is strong, you could become a novice, and later a mage. Whatever your choice, you must complete the same basic training.
What is the basic training?
The fundamentals of staff fighting. Once that's completed, the masters will take over, and you will learn from them. This is necessary whichever path you choose.
What can I expect as a mage?
Magic is a demanding discipline. Diligence, patience, practice, and sacrifice are all required. However, you would not carry out advanced combat training. There would be no time, but the rewards as a mage are great and would grant you access to all the spells the masters can teach you.
What if I wish to be a warrior of the Order?
Warriors learn staff combat, of course, and the basics of magic. You will become a skilled fighter armed with powerful combat spells.
Now, you have to make your choice here. Unfortunately, it doesn't give you a chance to make up your mind, which is annoying for me because I forgot to make a save before we entered, which means I'll have to reload. No, just reload and go through this conversation again.
I have decided. I will take the path of magic.
Then turn to the door on my left and go into the room next door. The novice tailor will give you your robe, and he will explain what happens next.
What is your role here? You haven't said.
Apart from answering questions from people like you, I am the administrator of the monastery. That keeps me more than busy.
Could I help you with that?
No, you concentrate on your training and your tests.
Tests? What tests?
Every master will test you. That is how you will proceed through the ranks here. You must listen well and study hard. That is what we expect from you.
Do you have a test for me?
You have already done a great deal for the Order. I do not need to test you.
So he does not offer us a test because of the way we got here, which was to do Harbor Town and get the letter of recommendation. Because his test would have been to actually go to Harbor Town and do everything we already did to take the town for the Order. Now, we discovered something funny when I did that on the live streams, which is that if you get sent to do that and completely screw it up and basically take the town over for the Don, you confuse the hell out of the game because it lets you finish joining the Don even though, as far as the game's concerned, you are a warrior of the Order. Now, the only way you can do that, obviously, is to have been recruited before going to Harbor Town. So, that really messes up the game's guild system, and I was tempted to run through the game doing that on the live streams, but I ended up deciding that it probably doesn't change a whole lot. What we miss out on is anything guild specific, including guild armors and some of the guild quests. I did want to see later in the game when it kind of some of the guild stuff comes up again and actually makes a difference. So maybe I will at some point pick that up in my own time and just kind of keep a note of how things get really funky, but yeah, just bear that in mind. You can completely screw up the guild structure in this game by doing it that way. Anyway, I'm going to make this save file for Madge. And I'm going to load the quick save outdoors so I can make another one for Warrior. Alright, well, let's get our robes from old Taylor here.
Hey, sorry for staring. I'm always interested in new faces. I'm Taylor. I'm guessing Master Palace sent you here?
He said you'd have a robe for me.
Wear it with pride. Your bond with magic is not one easily achieved.
Do you have some kind of map of this place?
Oh, yes. Every novice receives a map. Can't have them getting lost.
It's not really a big enough place to get lost in, but I guess doesn't hurt to have one.
Are you here out of your own free will?
You could say that. I used to be with the Don, but never saw eye to eye with the man. After Harbor Town got taken over, I came up here.
You enjoy sweeping the floors?
Well, I wasn't going to follow the Don into the swamp. Safer, warmer, and more rewarding here. Do you want to see your chamber?
Now I'm here, can I leave the monastery?
Yes, from time to time. But believe me, you're safer in here.
So, how do I leave the monastery?
Master Palace opens the gate, but he'll only do that once Master Ignatius considers you worthy.
Who is Master Ignatius?
Look, I can understand all the questions. I had them too. But like Master Palace told me, everything in good time. You'll learn about Master Ignatius soon enough, so just relax. Look around, and be safe in the knowledge that nothing's trying to eat you in here.
Sure. Show me the way.
Follow me.
Now, Caleb will, on the other side, will be the one receiving you if you join the warriors.
Hey, you need something?
Master Palace says you have a robe for me.
Oh, he did he? Well, you can have your robe after you've earned it. Sweep the entrance hall. All the entrance hall.
I'm not sweeping anything. Give me my robes.
Nah, I'm only joking with you. You were actually going to do it too, weren't you? Look, here's your robe. Put it on before someone less honest than me takes you for a ride. There we go. See? Robes suit everyone. We all look equally daft. Okay, relax. I was joking. Here, take this map. It'll stop you being lost and grumpy. You're looking remarkably relaxed. You didn't volunteer, did you?
Yes, I volunteered.
You must have some kind of death wish. Don't you know what happens to us lot?
Tell me.
Most of the new recruits don't live long. We're just handy fodder sent to do whatever the Inquisitor wants, whatever he's up to. We get a bit of training, and then most of us get sent into the ruins, and not many have come back. So I'd keep that whole volunteering thing to yourself. A lot of the men here weren't given a choice. You'll be branded as a crazy.
And he's going to make his way up there, but while he's off, we can have us a read.
This text is about magic spells.
So wisdom, just so you know, is the only stat that, as far as I recall, you can't level up in with trainers using learning points. It's only leveled up by reading book stands. And that's really going to come into play later once we get into the magic stuff. It's a lot like the ancient knowledge of Gothic 3 in the way it's implemented.
That didn't do it.
While Taylor's around the corner, we can have a little snatch.
Come on.
I'm coming.
So, we've a new recruit in our midst. Where's your tunic, recruit?
I don't have one. I'm training to become a mage.
Each to their own. But you should know it takes more than some fancy finger waving to get by here. Go and get yourself a staff and get back here sharpish.
Why do I need a staff?
Because everyone learns how to fight here. The staff is a noble weapon. In the right hands, as deadly as any blade. Although it pays to have a good blade handy too. And I think it's wise to see just how much training you're going to need. No sense in your dying too quick.
Who are you?
I'm Master Arik. I know what you're thinking. I seem like a nice guy, a decent chap. The reason I can be, because I know 1,001 ways to push someone's liver out of their nostrils.
Not wise to try that with a mage.
For mages, I know 1,002 ways.
Where's your staff?
You're observant, I like that. I've done my training, now it's up to you to do yours. Besides, if I need to, I can take a staff off any of these lot without breaking a sweat.
Where do I get a staff?
Look around the monastery, lad. Use those eyes of yours.
I'll be right back, Arik.
Don't forget the master part. Believe me, you don't want to know what it took to earn that title.
Whatever you say.
Ah, you'll soon learn the ropes. And if you don't, I'll soon knock you into shape.
Oh, I believe it, sir.
This is the training area, where Master Arik whips new recruits into shape. Once you finish basic instruction, Master Vitus will conduct your training further. If you treat him right, Master Arik's a decent sort. Let's move before someone sticks a broom in your hand. Oh, and you're sharing your room with Hemlar. He's rather grumpy, but shouldn't cause you any worry.
I don't think we'll be getting along with Master Arik anytime soon, so... the training that you go through is going to be more or less the same for both guilds here. I don't really remember how far the Warrior of the Order goes with the combat training. I feel like they both do the same. But they imply that there's a little bit more to be had on the warrior side, since they don't do as much magic.
Well, novice?
I have come to be tested.
Enlightenment is found in many places. Seek trust and wisdom in combat.
Right. You mean I should fight?
Unraveling the meaning of my words is the first part of your test.
Where can I find the other masters?
I will tell you that when the time comes. First, finish your basic training. Only then will you meet them.
Yes, sir.
Hey, new, huh? I'm Caspar. If you need something around here, I'm your man. For a price, of course.
Man, everyone's selling something that I don't think they should be selling.
You are the newcomer.
I'm new here.
This recruit has been murdered. What do you know of this?
Nothing. I've just arrived here. I heard you're short of new recruits. You'll have even fewer if this is how you greet them.
I am not accusing you. Your recent arrival means you have two qualities I need. You could not have committed this crime, and you need to prove yourself here. You can start by discovering who was responsible for this.
I don't know what happened here. I don't even know any of the people here.
Then you shall be objective. Examine cold facts, for instance. This man was stabbed in the back, and there is no sign of magic, which is why there is no reason for me to give personal attention to this case.
If you want me to investigate, where should I start?
Master Vitus will aid you.
Why do you want me to investigate this?
You think you're not up to the task.
How do you know I am?
Your manner and appearance. You aren't from this island, which makes your presence illegal. It also means you are a survivor. I'm surrounded by books and bookworms. I need survivors. I have more important things to consider. You have your task.
This is your room. Right. I'd better get back to my duties.
Yeah, I'd suggest you get out of here before you get roped into this. So I always liked how that's our introduction to the Inquisitor. If you join the Monastery. Because it's very unexpected. And he kind of shows his imposing nature when you first arrive. Voiced by Andy Serkis, by the way. He of Gollum fame. You don't really see him in as many voice acting roles as, well, really motion capture roles that I'm aware of. But yeah, the behind-the-scenes videos with him and John Rhys-Davies amuse me a little bit, because Andy kind of is just very matter-of-fact about his role, while John is much more, I would say, got a friendly rivalry going on. It seems very one-sided. It's a bit funny.
I'm John Rhys-Davies. I play Don Esteban, who is he's a rather complicated character. And certainly far more important than Andy's part. Tell him I said that.
Anyway, Hemlar. I'm afraid we never got to know our roommate. Well, we get to know him in unintended ways. He appears to have been stabbed. I don't believe he was stabbed for the sausage, for it was left behind. He may have been stabbed for this small packet of weed, very conspicuously here, and very conspicuously not small. If I ever found a packet of weed that big, I'm pretty sure I am going to federal prison, but... Alright, well, we found everything. We need to talk to old Vitus.
Hemlar has been murdered.
Yes, news spreads quickly here. Soon the whole monastery will know about it. But of course, everyone claims to have neither seen nor heard a thing.
And that makes my search for the killer all the harder.
You have been appointed investigator. I wish you success.
About Hemlar. When did the murder happen?
It appears Hemlar was killed at the time you arrived. Since then, no one has left the monastery. Therefore, we must assume
that the killer is still here.
There are those who pointed their finger at you. You'll need to be certain before you point your finger at anyone else.
I literally walked in the door and we found him dead. And I wasn't even the one who found him, so you can't even, like, turn around and say, oh, well, you were the last one to see him.
Why was Hemlar murdered?
That is a good question. Once you know the answer to why he was killed, you should find it much easier to discover who killed him.
Any suggestions where I should start?
Perhaps where Hemlar was found. The novice Caspar is responsible for the chambers. He also trades with many of the recruits.
Then he must see a lot of what happens here.
Talk to him. Tell him I have assigned him to help you.
I'm sure he'll be thrilled.
I'm on an assignment from the Inquisitor.
Really? What's the old man got you doing?
I'm supposed to find Hemlar's killer.
Haha, rather you than me.
It's both of us, actually. Master Vitus said you're to help me.
What? You're joking, ain't you?
Afraid not.
Oh, that's all I need. Okay, let's get this thing wrapped up quickly. I don't want to get on the Inquisitor's bad side.
What do you know about Hemlar?
Ex-con, shifty type, scuttled around. Quiet too. You never knew what he was thinking.
Shifty and quiet isn't going to get us far.
What about clues? Have you searched his room?
I searched the room and Hemlar's body.
Did you find anything?
I found some food.
Was Hemlar poisoned? No, so I doubt that's of any importance. You might as well keep it.
I found a small amount of gold.
Hemlar always came across as having a fair amount of gold. Maybe he spent it.
Or someone took it.
And left the rest to cover his tracks. Maybe. You might as well keep what you found. Should be some reward for your work, eh?
I found some Brugal weed.
Not a surprise. He was dealing the stuff.
And you didn't think that was something to tell me straight away? Do you know where he got his supply?
He certainly didn't grow it himself. You'd never get away with that in here. Must have got it from outside. Don't know how. Hemlar wasn't allowed to leave the monastery.
So, he must have had a supplier on the outside. Or who had permission to leave the monastery. I found a knife in Hemlar's room.
I
found a knife in Hemlar himself.
There's dry blood on it too. Hey, have you just given me the thing that killed him?
I think it is the murder weapon. But why leave it there? Have you seen this knife before?
Looks like one of Harlock's kitchen knives. Could be that the blood just came from the kitchens. Or am I being naive?
I mean, it was literally stabbed into him. Or at least, apparently in his pockets, if nothing else.
Any idea who was supplying Hemlar?
Well, don't look at me. I partake, but that's it. A lot of people smoke, not much else to do here. The powers that be must know, turn a blind eye. But whoever was supplying Hemlar must have been someone who could leave the monastery.
Who does that leave us with?
You need to talk to Master Pallas. He's in charge of the gates.
Do you trade with recruits?
I do business with anyone who's got gold. I ain't fussy, but no weed and no weapons because I ain't stupid either. Anything else I can get you.
Show me what you've got.
It is funny because, of course, you can sell him weapons. And if you have Brugal weed, you could sell it to him. Because no shopkeeper really discriminates. Can't sell him the package we found, though, for that is evidence. It also just doesn't really have much that's any good. Tell joke spells can be useful around here if we need to get around certain people. That hasn't really given us any answers so far.
About Hemlar. Hemlar was dealing Brugal weed. What do you think?
You're making progress. You've spoken to Caspar, I suppose. He's a bright lad. Work with him and report to me once you've found the murderer. I assume you no longer need the corpse for your investigations. I'll take care of it, so that Hemlar may go to his final rest.
Yes, indeed, and so that I may rest without a stiff next to me. Alright, Mr. Pallas.
I need the names of everyone allowed to leave the monastery.
Do you? And you need these names, why?
I'm investigating Hemlar's murder.
I see. Murder is a serious business. However, I hope you aren't neglecting your basic training to carry this out.
No, I wouldn't neglect my training.
Tell me how far you've got, and I will see if I can help.
All I need are the names.
And all the Order needs is dedicated, trained warriors. I make it my personal goal to provide them, and there is no point in investigating if you can't defend yourself. Train, and we shall speak again.
I got him in a weird, stiff animation there, but this is a very sort of contrived roadblock to make sure you complete your basic training first. And it may come off very weird that they halt what would seem like a very critical investigation. Somebody was murdered in here, and the murderer is still at large. You would think nothing would be more important than getting that resolved, but he won't even assist in the investigation, even at another master's behest. I guess we didn't really talk to Vitus about it, but he won't assist in the investigation at all until we've completed basic training. Now, it turns out there's actually a very pragmatic reason for that, which is simply that these two quests would actually conflict with each other if we were to complete the investigation first. But we'll discuss that when we get to it. For now, I think this is where we're going to wrap it up. We will continue. We're pretty much going to go through the entire monastery as a mage. And if there are critical differences in how the warrior training plays out, then I will show that off where relevant. But this is going to be it for tonight. For now, I hope you all stay safe, stay healthy, and we will see you next time.